Good morning, church. It's Reverend Ahmondra, and I am in sunny Carlsbad, California, coming to you from CSL Carlsbad. This morning, my sermon is entitled UBUNTO. I am because we are. There is a traditional story in Africa that explains what UBUNTO actually means. It's a story about a group of children that were offered to play a game. There was this large basket of sweet fruit put at the bottom of a tree, about 100 yards away. And all of the kids were told that at the count of 3, if they ran quick as they could, whoever got there first would get to keep all of the fruit. So at the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, something amazing happened. Instead of the children just making a mad dash, seeing who could get there first, they grabbed each other's hands and they all ran together, got there together, sat down together, distributed the fruit, and all ate in harmony together. UBUNTO simply means I am because we are. How can any one of us be happy if all the others are sad? So this morning, I asked each of us, what would it look like in our world if we started to practice the principle of UBUNTO? What if everything we did, we paid attention to how it would impact our neighbor, our citizen, the stranger on the street? Because we are all interconnected. In Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, the founder, shares it with us this way. There is no individual good. Good belongs to everyone. There is no good that only belongs to you or only belongs to me. There are only good things that happen for all of us because we're all interconnected. I believe personally that the COVID pandemic has shown us clearly that we're all interconnected. The author, Melanie Bacon, states it this way. The breath of the one is the breath of the all. And the breath of the all is the breath of God. We will make a different choice if we consciously remember that. My breath is your breath. And that it's the same breath of someone that's 10,000 miles away. The pandemic has reminded us that the separation that we kind of thought was there is really only an illusion. We are all breathing the same air, and that air sustains us. We have to work collectively together. When I breathe in and I breathe out, you breathe in that same air. So you're actually breathing in a part of me. During these very challenging times, we have to have some hard decisions made in our lives. And those decisions will affect us and they'll affect others. Am I going to be responsible for my fellow citizens the way I am responsible for myself? Am I going to adjust my lifestyle and learn a new way of living to sustain that new lifestyle? How important are others to me? UBUNTO is a way to describe that universal bond that connects all of humanity. The nature of God is unity. There is no separation in spirit. Our true essence is also unity. Every cell, every organ in our body works together in unity. When we understand that we are all divine beings, a creation of God, our perspectives begin to change. I am guided by the same intelligence and inspired by the same imagination that put the stars in the sky, that has the rain fall on everybody, that has all of nature work in harmony. That force of nature has us in its hands. Now, the reason that many of us don't understand this interconnectedness between us has to do with, I believe, three distinct areas. The first, because of our collective training in this society, survival of the fittest. You know, when they did that 1, 2, 3 clap, hey, you push people down, you stomp them in the ground to get to that basket of fruit. Survival of the fittest. That's the first one. The second one, our inherited wisdom. What we inherit from those who came before us in our tribes. This is your tribe, you stick with your tribe. Those over there are others. They're in another tribe. And the third one, our own personal experiences. My individuality is the most important thing in the world. I live in a me, me, I world. I see those three distinctions in operation. They continue to feed the illusion of separateness. We are governed by the beliefs that we hold. If we hold an UBUNTO philosophy, then we believe that everybody should have happiness and joy. If we don't, we believe that happiness and joy is just for me or just for mine. It can be very difficult to change those beliefs. They're ingrained. Many of us aren't even aware that we have the underlying beliefs. So it's virtually impossible to change something if you don't even know it's there. But our job is to break out of our own comfort zone and step into God's creative zone. What if we were able to live life that is demonstrated in unity? A life where we would see God in ourselves and in all people, regardless of our opinions of someone else. Now, I know that that's challenging for some of us, but I remind myself all the time that what I am looking at is not the divinity. I'm looking at the human being and the human personality and the human characteristics. That's what I'm looking at. But behind all of that, there's this powerful divinity. And that divinity is the same divinity as me. Now, for me to have that way of thinking, or for all of us to have that way of thinking, calls for us to be diligent in our thinking. To live in alignment with spiritual principles of unity requires us to make a daily commitment and stand in that commitment every day. We have to be committed to standing in a new truth. A truth that's bedded and wedded in what's going on today. Not what was passed down to us. A truth that is not rooted in the past beliefs or experience from old social norms. We must be willing to allow Spirit to guide us. And trust me, Spirit is not always going to guide you in the direction that you think you ought to be going. And if you make that request, oh Lord, guide me, and then you try to go a different way, I guarantee there will be consequences. When we allow ourselves to be guided by Spirit, we sometimes engage in behaviors and activities that don't feel familiar. They don't sit inside of our normal patterns, our normal way of being. It requires us to stretch, to be uncomfortable, to stand in our purpose and not be distracted. Don't run after what I call the shiny. I can be distracted by objects. I could be so focused and working so hard on a project, and then I see something else that comes inside of my little circle and I'm off and running. Shiny, shiny, I'm after that. And then I forget where I was. And with that shiny, I see another shiny, and I'm over there, and I'm over there until I forget where I was when I started. I lose track, is what I'm trying to say. If each one of us took on the principle of UBUNTO, we would first look around to see how we could be of service to others. Looking to see how we can be of service to others can be difficult, particularly when we're standing in a fear storm. And right now, many of us are caught up in a fear storm because of what's swirling around us. But the Dalai Lama tells us to remember that the best relationship is one in which your love for each other exceeds your need for each other. Let me repeat that. That the best relationship is one in which your love for each other exceeds your need for each other. Meaning that I don't only want you in my life for what you can give to me. I want you in my life because you're a divine being and I love you and I want to be of service to you. And we have been witnessing that for the last 7 months. Individuals stepping up, putting themselves at risk so that they could be of service to us. What if we loved others so much that we put our immediate needs aside and got in service? That's what we've been seeing. Thousands of individuals have given up their life in service so that others may live. Maybe our fear would dissipate and love would uplift us if we got in service, if we had an UBUNTO consciousness. Fear is a very, very dark energy. It surrounds us. It pulls us down. And then our fear attracts other fear until we find ourselves in the middle of what I call a fear storm. But love is a light energy, and it lifts us up. When we're interacting with others in positive energy, that's also multiplied, and we begin to feel better. Ernest Holmes also reminds us of this. If the fearful mind would entertain love, harmony and peace would go with it. We must turn from everything that denies love and trust in divine guidance. Then we open the door to love. Not just love for ourselves, but love for everything. Today, yes, we are facing very uncertain times, and it doesn't look like they're going to get any better too quickly. But we have to remember to be a neighbor to all and a stranger to none. The universe holds us in its loving embrace. I like to say, God got my back, or God got this, with the finger snap. The answer to every problem already exists in the mind of God. And we are in the mind of God. And the mind of God is flowing through us every minute. Do not believe that we already have a cure, a virus, a way to handle the pandemic. Some thousands of people have already had that downloaded into them because that's the way spirit works. We are simply waiting for it to be manifested on the physical plane. We have to stand firm and not worry about it. We have to shift our behaviors. What can we do while we're waiting? Instead of worrying about, oh my God, what is going to happen to my country? How can I help my country? How are we going to survive? What can I do to help those less fortunate than me to survive and thrive during this period of waiting? We can stop anytime and remember the truth of who we are. We're divine beings. The universe always operates in divine right order. Just because we can't see the giant picture doesn't mean that it's not there. God has all these millions of little bitty puzzle pieces, which are us, that get put into this giant picture. And when we get put into our particular little space, that's where we are standing in our purpose. But if we're chasing shiny and we're over there trying to fit ourselves into somebody else's space, it won't work. We won't be happy because that is not where we are supposed to be. So in the coming weeks, I want to challenge you to stand up and look at where you are living Ubuntu in your life. Embrace a new philosophy. God does have the answer to every question and the perfect solution to every challenge. It's there for us. Our job is simply to stay focused on our connection to each other. How can we support and love each other? Let Ubuntu be our guidepost. UBUNTU, Ubuntu. I am because you are. I am happy because you are happy. I am joy because you are joy. Together, we hold hands and we move forward. Let us hold this principle in our hearts as we step into times that are kind of unfamiliar to us. Do not allow it to shake your resolve. I add a blessing to each of you today and a blessing to these words. Go out in the world and tell people it's Ubuntu time. And when they ask you what time that is, you can explain it to them. I love you. Have a blessed day. Namaste.